Borderline justice. Saddle up, partner. Today we're talking about a rootin' tootin' warbond that'll knock your socks off. It features some awesome gear and some great cosmetic items. I would equate this here warbond with Servants of Freedom, because it doesn't feature a ton of items, but they're all very unique and they're very fun. We're gonna get started on page 1. And on page 1, we have the R6 Deadeye. This is my favorite marksman rifle in the game. Not only is it stylish and fun to use, but it hits like a truck at any range. The Deadeye is a lever action rifle. You feed it round by round, and each round deals 300 damage with medium armor penetration. That is a lot of damage per round. It's actually the most damage per round out of any weapon that uses standard bullets. The damage combined with the armor penetration means that you can deal excellent damage to almost any enemy in the game if you have good aim. And since this weapon is great at long range, I really like to use this against the bots. You can fight them at long range, picking off targets and making things easier for your team if they choose to advance. I don't really like using this weapon here against bugs though. You don't have enough ammo to handle a large crowd of smaller enemies, and it does have a long reload if you empty it. It's not my favorite to use against the Illuminate either, but it can instantly kill Overseers if you hit them in the head, so that's pretty great. But you'll want to bring something to help with the Voteless if you choose to bring the Deadeye to the Galactic South. Overall, this is an incredibly fun weapon to use, and if you use it correctly, it can function as an excellent sniper rifle. Next up, we have the GS-17 Frontier Martial Armor Set. This armor set is just really cool. It definitely has that sci-fi bounty hunter look, and it pulls it off really well. I like the little neck scarf. I like that he's been collecting teeth, and I like that he has some kind of silver hand.
Wait the fuck up.
The helmet is great too. I say this a lot, but it very much reminds me of some kind of Star Wars trooper, like a scout trooper or some kind of Sith Empire agent. This armor set comes with the Gunslinger passive, which entirely revolves around secondary weapons. It comes with 3 different perks. The first perk gives you 40% faster reloads for all of your secondary weapons. So if you ever find that your secondaries just take too long to reload, then this is the passive for you. It also allows you to draw and holster your secondary weapons twice as fast, which is great if you find yourself being, overrun and you're running out of ammo often in your primary weapon, and you feel the need to regularly swap to your secondary. The third perk simply reduces your recoil with secondary weapons by 70%, which is a massive decrease in recoil. More than 2/3 of the recoil is just gone. This is very useful on pretty much any standard pistol. The Redeemer, the Senator, and the Verdict benefit heavily from this perk. This is a very unique passive, and it's a great idea for the Cowboy warbond. Being able to become a master of gunslinging is pretty damn cool, but it's not exactly useful. It's not super practical, and it's far from being the best passive in the game. It's not a passive that I ever consider using on difficult missions. There are other passives that bring so much utility and value to the table, and they overshadow this one quite a bit. I'm sure there is some way you could buff this passive while keeping the identity it has, but I'm not sure how someone would go about that. But this armor set is really awesome looking, and if you really love your secondary weapons, then this is a good pick and you'll have a good time. And now we have to move on to page 2. And on page 2, we have the GS-66 Lawmaker armor set. This here armor set is much more blatant with the bounty hunter inspiration. The bandolier, the belt, and the leather are all very classic cowboy tropes, and it still manages to look very sci-fi, very Mandalorian. The helmet especially, it's close to having that Mando T-visor, and it still has the antenna on the left ear with those glowing bits on the other. This is a heavy armor set. 150 armor rating, and of course it has the Gunslinger passive. It's a bit of an odd combo, using heavy armor and focusing on secondary weapons, but to each their own. This is a really cool armor set, and I quite like the way it looks, and it, stands out from the rest. Next up, we have the Laz 58 Talon. This is widely regarded to be one of the best secondaries in the game, if not the best secondary in the game, period. It functions similarly to the Sickle. It fires laser projectiles, and it uses heat sinks instead of magazines, making it very effective at conserving ammo. But the Talon is semi-automatic, and it packs some serious firepower for a pistol. It deals 200 damage with medium penetration, so it deals more damage than almost any other pistol, outclassing the Verdict, the Warrant, and the SOCOM in terms of raw damage. You can fire it very fast, and you can spam out 6 shots in a row without overheating, making it function just like a laser revolver, just without the actual revolving. But you can act like a real quick shot, you can spam out 6 shots and take an enemy out pretty fast. But if you fire too much, then the weapon will break open and you'll need to change the heatsink. However, if you can keep it from overheating, it's an excellent sidearm. If you run out of ammo in your primary, you can quickly swap to the Talon and get 6 shot out very fast to help defend yourself. And it's really great for synergizing with other energy weapons. You can use a primary like the Sickle or the Scythe, and when it nearly overheats, you swap to the Talon and use that until the Talon nearly overheats, then swap back and repeat. There are a lot of great ways to use the Talon, and it's an incredible secondary that I can recommend to just about anybody. It's definitely one of the items that sells this Warbond. Time for page 3, and on page 3 we have the TED-63 Dynamite. This is pretty much a standard grenade, but with a twist. The main gimmick of this here weapon is the programmable timer. You can set it to explode after 5 seconds, 15 seconds, or 1 whole minute. I personally use the 5-second timer. I'm not nearly smart enough to get use out of the other 2 options. I've heard that some people use the longer timers for stealth. They set the timer and they toss it away to create a distraction. And since enemies are drawn to the sound of combat, they'll go right for it and they'll leave you alone. That's way above my pay grade. I'm not nearly clever enough for that, so I pretty much just use it as a standard grenade. But how does it perform as a standard grenade? Pretty good, I would say. It has a very large radius and very high damage when compared with other grenades. And although 5 seconds is still a pretty long timer when compared with the other standard grenades, you can still use it well if you're smart about it. If you're being chased by enemies, throw the grenade at your feet and run. You're sure to take out a group of enemies whether or not you can escape the radius of the dynamite. Overall, the dynamite is really good. It just requires you to think ahead and be able to use it to its advantages. Make sure you throw it at the start of a crowd, like a crowd is going to walk into the grenade. Don't throw it into the crowd. Throw it ahead of them. They'll walk into it and they'll blow right up. You'll get a lot of kills that way. Next up, we have the Lift 860 Hover Pack. This is a really cool backpack and a really neat side grade to the standard jump pack that we all know and love. It functions similarly to the jump pack. They're both jet packs after all, but the hover pack instead focuses entirely on vertical movement instead of diagonal movement like the jump pack. It can be used to scale walls and find new places to defend yourself, or new flanking routes to surprise your enemies. I like to pair this bad boy with explosive weapons like the grenade launcher, or the crossbow, or the grenade pistol even. You can fly high above your opponents and rain hell on them without worrying about blowing yourself to smithereens. Plus, it's very helpful for destroying fabricators. If all you brought were impact explosives, like the grenade launcher, like the crossbow, then it can help you out big time if you need to land an explosive right into the fabricator's vents. This backpack isn't perfect, it's fairly situational, but it's very fun to use and it's very fitting for a warbond about space cowboys and bounty hunters. Next up, we have the Sample Extricator Booster. This booster is very different. It doesn't give you any actual benefits during combat. The sole function of this booster is to help you obtain common samples. That's how it works. Every time you kill a large enemy, there is a small chance for it to drop a common sample. This can happen up to 10 times in a single mission. So in the best case scenario, you can earn 10 more common samples per mission. But that's really not a lot in my opinion. Not enough to sacrifice a booster for. I'll be honest, I never picked this booster myself until I had to record for this video. I've been in matches where other people have picked it, but I've never noticed a difference in the amount of common samples because I generally don't need any more common samples. This is all very opinionated, but this is just my observations. And I get it. You are supposed to take this booster to help out new players and get them some more commons, but I just don't think it's that good. There's already a much better sample-based booster, in my opinion, but perhaps they would work well if you use them together. I could see that. They really gotta buff this booster, give it a small chance to drop like a rare sample or something. Just give it something extra, you know? Next up, we have the Super Sheriff title. I love cowboys. Big, hot, cool, buff cowboys. And you need this title if you're gonna visit Super Ram Ranch. Well, seriously, I do love the title Super Sheriff. It's very fitting, very fun. You know, I love just slapping super onto whatever word we can think of. And our last item is the Tip Hat emote. Well, it's a nice emote. The unfortunate thing is that we don't have any cowboy hats that we can actually tip. The closest thing we have is the Parade Commander hat, and that just doesn't cut it for a cowboy like me. It's really quite sad. In conclusion, Borderline Justice is very similar to Servants of Freedom. You don't get a ton of items, but the items that you do get feel very unique and are very fun to use. I love shooting the Deadeye. The Talon is an incredible sidearm. The Dynamite is a good choice for a grenade. The Hover Pack is very fun to use, and the armors are really, really cool looking. The only thing I would change about this Warbond would be the passive and the booster. The passive could use some sort of buff, and the booster should give you a lot more. It should allow rare samples to drop as well, and increase the drop chance so that you have a better chance of leaving with 10 more samples. But despite all that, this Warbond is still worth it in my eyes, and you should pick it up if you want a Warbond that is focused more on being fun and thematic than anything else. But what do you think about Borderline Justice? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Are you a true cowboy diver? Let me know in the comments down below. I want to thank my channel members, Swickity, ArchAngelShipyards, and Cheddar. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. Make sure to like this video if you enjoyed watching, and subscribe for more videos on Helldivers 2, and of course, more Warbond reviews. And that's all I have for today, so this here is the SES Prophet of Dawn, signing off.